The movie begins with a young man named Benjamin, who, since childhood, is often ignored by everyone in his environment. He lived alone with his grandmother after his father left him as a child, and his mother died by ending her life when he was 8 years old. Excluded from the social world, Benjamin spends a lot of time in front of a computer screen. When he was 14 years old, he learned about programming languages, after which he could hack the system for the first time. Benjamin felt he had mastered something and created an account with the initials "Who am I?" Benjamin may not be a nobody in the real world, but in cyberspace, or, more precisely, among the dark web and hackers, he feels important and considered. He has an idol hacker who considers him a true hero because he can hack any system in the world, and the hacker group calls himself MRX. Not only worrying the government, but MRX also kindly developed a program for hackers to get Ritalin for free. Ritalin is a brain nervous system stimulant drug for hackers, so they can last a long time in front of the monitor screen. MRX has 3 important rules in its world. Firstly, no system is secure. Secondly, aim for the impossible. And thirdly, have fun in the virtual world and in the real world. The scene is back in the real world. Benjamin is just a pizza delivery guy who no one thinks about. One day, he delivered pizza to a woman named Marie, who was his friend during junior high school. He had liked her, but he had never revealed it. At that time, Benjamin overheard Marie, who had a problem with her course exams. Arriving home, Benjamin thinks of manipulating Marie's exams and helping her pass, hoping she will fall in love with him. After thinking all night, Benjamin determined to break through her campus and enter the main server room to get the exam questions. Unfortunately, before getting the data, he was caught by campus security and sentenced to 50 hours of community service, sweeping city streets. While serving his sentence, Benjamin meets a man named Max who is also receiving a service sentence. Max was convicted of breaking into as well as hacking the system. Eventually, the two talk about the design until Max invites Benjamin to attend an event. In the evening, Benjamin came to fulfill the invitation. It turned out that Marie and her friends were there. Then he was invited to go upstairs to meet 2 of Max's friends. There is a man named Stephan, a software expert who loves adrenaline and challenges, and a man named Paul, a hardware expert who has lost his parents since childhood. Then Max asks Benjamin to show his ability to turn off the electricity in the complex using only a MacBook and turn it back on. Shortly after the police appeared, Benjamin and his friends immediately ran away from the house. On the other hand, Benjamin's grandmother's Alzheimer's disease worsens. The doctor advised Benjamin to entrust his grandmother to be treated at the clinic, so he had to accept the fact that he had to live alone without any family. On the way home, Max suddenly appears and asks him to go somewhere where Benjamin will get a new lesson and knowledge. Max said that the lessons could hack the system and deceive humans in the real world. Then Max looks for a used donut box with a receipt in it. After that, he complained to the cashier that there were 2 fewer donuts. As a result, he could easily get free donuts. Benjamin was invited to a parking lot, and Paul and Stephan were seen waiting for Max's presence. They apparently planned to borrow someone else's car to go to a building where a political party was being held. Only with an identity card printed using ordinary HVS paper and photos edited using Adobe Photoshop, Stephan could easily trick the guards. Although initially refused and did not know what to do, Benjamin finally understood his task, which was to hack the laptop on the pulpit. Meanwhile, Stephan is installing a camera to capture the moment, where the purpose of the action is to prove that Max and his friends can do something impossible, like the MRX rules. They set up a small base in Benjamin's grandmother's house to start a big mission. They want to prove to the world that although the 4 of them are nothing in the real world, they are extraordinary in cyberspace. Then they make the name of the group as well as their characteristics. After a brief discussion, they decided to call their group Clay, or Clowns Laughing at You.
Okay.
In a short time, the Clay group they formed received high appreciation from the public, thanks to the jokes they made on television news programs, Building Lights, and others. And how annoyed Max was when he found out that their group's actions so far were still not popular enough among hackers. Even MRX didn't know about their group. On the other hand, a woman named Hanne, a law enforcement officer and a senior investigator from the European Union's Special Crime Agency, was sent to handle a case of breaking into the European Central Bank by a group of hackers who named themselves Friends. Back to Max and friends who are using Paul's hardware to win a lucky draw. They manipulated the telephone network so only they could contact the committee. As a result, they won the grand prize of a very expensive Porsche. Then they tried to drive the car and shouted happily in the streets. After that, they had a party by inviting 3 women that night. But Benjamin chooses to separate himself and uses the Porsche to meet and attract Marie's attention. Unfortunately, Benjamin, who was nervous, looked tacky in front of Marie when he asked her to sit alone in the car. But Marie didn't seem interested in Benjamin and his car, so she left him. The next day, Max gets a message sent by MRX that contains an investigation file against many well-known hacker groups. Clay's name is also listed in the file, but unfortunately, not as a threat but as a group of harmless hackers who can't threaten anyone. Knowing this, of course, made Max immediately annoyed because their efforts had not been considered by MRX. After that, Benjamin had the idea to hack into a larger system, namely the number one government agency, the German Federal Intelligence Service or BND. Not wanting to waste time, they disguised themselves as janitors who secretly entered the paper waste processing factory, where some of the paper waste comes from the BND building. After they managed to get the used paper belonging to BND employees, they immediately went to do phishing. By using used paper, they can find out the name of the employee's email account. A cute cat photo is sent along with a clickable website address, after which Stephan was able to manipulate employee data and send 4 ID cards to have access to the BND building. After that, they enter the BND building using their group's signature masks and perform their respective tasks such as hacking CCTV and lights, accessing entrance codes, and others. Meanwhile, Benjamin is assigned to enter the main server room to hack into all the printer machines in the building so that they can print pictures of their group as proof that there is no security system in this world. To celebrate this, Benjamin and his friends went to the club to party. After that, something bad happened to Benjamin when he saw Marie kissing Max, so he immediately left the place. As a result, Max and his friends catch up with Benjamin to persuade him to join them again. It turns out that when he was drunk, Max said that Benjamin was a useless man and could not do anything without the help of the 3 of them. Hearing those words certainly made Benjamin even more disappointed and hurt. Unbeknownst to them, however, Benjamin has managed to steal important confidential data belonging to the BND. He is desperate to give the data to MRX to get the attention of hackers and MRX. The following day, Benjamin was shocked because his actions last night turned out to have resulted in a hacker being killed. Where the hacker is one of the hackers, who are paid by the BND or spy whose job is to find information about the hackers involved in crime. Benjamin's data to MRX certainly holds a lot of confidential information, including the real identity of the dead hacker. It turns out that MRX has sold the data to the Russian mafia and ordered them to eliminate the hacker so that there are no more spies among them all. Finally, now the 4 of them are officially wanted by everyone because they are considered to have sold the data to the Russian mafia and are the main cause of the hacker's death. There is a little fight between Benjamin and Max until Benjamin's face bleeds. Suddenly, Marie appears because she wants to visit Benjamin, without knowing that her actions last night made him heartbroken. Located on the premises of a public library, the 4 of them plan to contact MRX and pretend they want to join their group. They want to reveal the identity behind the MRX group and what they have been up to. However, during communication, the BND managed to track their whereabouts. At that time, the BND immediately mobilized its troops to arrest Benjamin and his friends. After successfully escaping from the pursuit of the BND, the 4 of them decided to eliminate their tracks and evidence. They did not even hesitate to burn down Benjamin's grandmother's house, which they had made their headquarters. After that, their next mission is to enter the BND server room to enter MRX's server, so they can reveal the identity of the real perpetrator. The next day, they disguised themselves as janitors again, but now they couldn't sneak in easily. The BND turned out to have installed various high security, so they tried many times to get in there but always failed. Until it came to a point where Benjamin realized that this was all his fault. He coincidentally found a loophole when a visitor dropped his ID card, so he could enter and reason that his wallet was left in the cafeteria. Due to the urgency and strong motivation to get out of the problem, Benjamin now has the confidence to act. As a result, he managed to convince the security and could enter the cafeteria room. After that, Benjamin attaches a device created by Paul to create a mock network so that he can access the BND system from anywhere. Located in a cafe with his laptop connected to a BND server, Benjamin is just one step away from revealing who MRX really is. But it turned out to be not that easy because MRX already knew that this was a trap and it was Benjamin who had to reveal his true face and be chased by a group of the Russian mafia who wanted to kill him. After escaping from the pursuit of the Russian mafia, Benjamin is immediately faced with a more painful fact. He finds Max, Paul, and Stephan murdered in his apartment. After that, Benjamin ventured to meet Hanne to ask for witness protection so as not to be hunted and killed by the Russian mafia. At first, Hanne did not believe that Benjamin was a hacker named Who Am I, but when he was able to reveal Hanne's identity, then she finally believed. After telling the entire chronology from the beginning, Hanne finally begins to feel sympathy for Benjamin and agrees to help him reveal who MRX is. Benjamin is invited to use the BND computer and is given a second chance to reveal who MRX is. Unlike before, he can more freely use the BND server there. Benjamin disguises himself as MRX and admits all his rottenness right in front of all hackers, so the real MRX will certainly be furious and provoked by emotions that make him fall into Benjamin's trap. It was finally revealed who MRX was, where their leader was a 19-year-old boy named Sean Dunham, who lived in New York. After MRX was caught, Benjamin certainly couldn't just calm down because there was still the Russian mafia who would continue to hunt him down. As the interrogation went on, Hanne noticed a wound on Benjamin's right hand, which he said had been pierced by a nail while in the sewer. After discovering the discrepancy, Hanne decides to investigate Benjamin's life by going to his rented house. When she got there, Hanne found the drug Ritalin, which so far was in line with what Benjamin had told her. But when she met Marie at her college, she said that Benjamin was her old friend who has a strange personality. Hearing her answer, Hanne was surprised. After that, Hanne looked for information about Benjamin from the doctor who treated her grandmother. The doctor told her that Benjamin's late mother had committed to ending her life due to multiple personality disorders. Hanne then asked whether such a disorder could be passed on to her son. The doctor then said that it is still possible, especially if you add drugs such as Ritalin, and it will certainly aggravate the problems he suffers. From there, Hanne finally discovered that Benjamin suffered from multiple personalities. She immediately met Benjamin, who was still being held in the BND interrogation room. She said that Max, Paul, and Stephan only existed in his imagination, and so far, they were not real. Knowing this fact, Benjamin felt depressed about what he had experienced. A person with multiple personalities will not be aware if there is an imagination that interferes with his mind if someone else is not immediately aware of it. As a result, Benjamin could not get witness protection, which can only be granted to people with good mental health. Feeling Benjamin is an innocent man, Hanne secretly invites him into the BND computer room to change his identity so that no one can track him, including the Russian mafia. After that, Benjamin will return to being an ordinary person who is not known by anyone anymore. Now, Benjamin was on a large ship that was headed for nowhere. Then appeared Max, Paul, and Stephan in real human form. In fact, most of what Benjamin told Hanne was a fabrication so that he could gain sympathy from her. As a result, he was allowed to enter the computer room and change his identity forever. It all started when Benjamin was chased by Russian mafia forces. Arriving at the apartment, Max, Paul, and Stephan were so amazed at him because they intended to solve the problem alone. In the end, they are helped by Marie, who decides to devise the craziest plan by tricking Hanne into getting Benjamin's reputation clean and disappearing from the population data. It was clearly not easy to carry out the plan, but Benjamin had to experience excruciating pain when his hand was stabbed by a nail to make the same scar as Max. The scar will be the starting point of Hanne's suspicion of Benjamin, who has a split personality. In the end, Hanne got what she wanted, which was MRX and the Friends hacker group. Meanwhile, Benjamin is now a nobody but can make something extraordinary. The moral that can be learned from this movie is to be careful in acting because we do not know who is the enemy or the friend, especially when on a secret mission.